Greetings from Tokyo. My name is Daisuke Beppu. How are you doing today? Today I'd like to talk to you about indicator. I was asked by some viewers to talk about some other labels other than Criterion that I have in terms of my Blu-rays that I own. So on a previous video I showed some of my Arrow titles. So today I'd like to show you the titles that I have from Powerhouse Indicator, which is a label from the United Kingdom. First of all, however, let me just make a few remarks about some viewers, if I may. So the first person I'd like to mention is Solitary Ronin Films. Now, Solitary Ronin Films has his own channel on YouTube, and he has been talking a lot about his favorite films, for example, by Akira Kurosawa, his favorite films by Michael Mann, which is a very good list, if I may say so. Also, however, and I think quite significantly, he made a great list about the films of John Sayles. Now, John Sayles is a filmmaker that I admire, but I seldom mention because he's one of those filmmakers that, unfortunately, I tend to forget. But that's my own fault, because I think he deserves more praise and more discussion. Because it's so wonderful to see a John Sayles movie and to see the writing come to life. It lives and breathes as you see it progress on the screen. It's incredible. And Solitary Ronin Films makes a point to emphasize this and to show his enthusiasm and love for John Sayles' work. So he has a great top 10 list over at his own channel. What I'll do is I'll just provide a link in the description box below in this video. So if you're interested, just take a look at his channel. He has a very interesting and quite unique presentation style, which is really great. I really like it. You know, he has a really ornate mask on, and it's really quite stunning to behold. Actually, I really love it. And what's so interesting, you know, he's incredibly articulate. It's incredible just how articulate he is through that mask. So, and what he says about film is actually quite. He goes into specifics as to why he likes each film without giving too much spoiler details. And you can tell right from the get-go that he's really into it and he's really enthusiastic and he loves what he's doing. So yes, Solitary Ronin Films, please check him out if you have the chance, and in particular his enthusiasm for the works of John Sayles. Next, I'd like to mention that in the video that I made about the films that I think should be included in the Criterion Collection, I got so many great recommendations and suggestions for films that should be included, that you think should be included, and in turn suggestions and films for me to watch. It's been really great. I've learned so much in just reading those comments. It's been fantastic. So if I could really quickly just mention, for example, X24 Rider, my dear friend, X24 Rider. He mentioned a lot of great films, but one film that stuck out to me because it was something that I hadn't heard from anyone else is the film The Disappearance of Alice Creed. So this sounds very interesting to me. So I hopefully will be able to catch up with it very soon. So X24 Rider, thank you very much. Yes, so next also is I want to mention SJS Films. SJS Films also mentioned some films that he really thought deserved more attention or should be included in the Criterion Collection. And among that, the titles that he discussed was the film The Shining. And in fact, he indicated that The Shining is his favorite film, which is a really interesting choice. It's a great choice. And in fact, SJS Films has his own YouTube channel. Now, he has a favorite films video. He also shows his Blu-ray collection, which is quite extensive, very extensive. I'm very impressed, actually. So if you're interested, just I would suggest that you have a look at SJS Films and see what he has to offer. I think his favorite films list had The Shining. It also had some films that I consider to be my own favorites. I think Vertigo was there, so I was very happy to see that. So, and incidentally, Vertigo is probably my favorite film, so I'm glad to see that there. Anyway, SJS Films, I hope you're doing well, my friend. Next is, I'd like to mention really quickly, also with respect to the video that I made about films that I think should be included in the Criterion Collection, I got a really great comment from this viewer whose name is Philosophia. I think that's such a cool name. That's so cool. Philosophia. And so Philosophia, what you did was so great. You told me about your favorites in Hungarian cinema. Now, I don't know anything about Hungarian cinema except for the films that I have seen by Béla Tarr. So it was so refreshing to see your comments, Philosophia, with respect to that video I made of the films that I think should be included in the Criterion Collection. So I urge all of you who are watching to please go to that video and just scroll down the comment section and find the comments by Philosophia, and you'll find the little section where I send her comments and we go back and forth. But yeah, Philosophia, you've got some really fantastic choices. If you don't mind, let me just read them off for you. I have this printed out and I have it on my desk because it's really fun to refer to this. Let's see. So you said yes, so you mentioned the film On Body and Soul, which is a recent film, I understand, and you say On Body and Soul is a very philosophical movie that sucks you in and you will be thinking about it for days. It was up for Oscars this year in the foreign film category, and the cinematography is just amazing. I wish it would have won. And then, yes, so On Body and Soul, this is very interesting. And also you go on to say, I thought I'd share more of my personal favorites with you. Some of them are popular and some are very underrated and forgotten. So, for example, you mentioned the film Sinbad, Nobody's Daughter, Edes Anna, Opium, Diary of a Mad Woman, Demimonde, and you also mentioned American Rhapsody, and King Sem, Children of Glory, Polygamy, Chameleon, and also Mindenki, excuse me. And also you all mention the more acclaimed films like Son of Saul and The Fifth Seal and Mephisto. But boy, oh boy, these are really fantastic suggestions, you know. And what I did actually was, after reading this, I was just looking very casually online, and I wanted to get some films, some Hungarian films. So what I did was I was influenced by you, and I'm trying to find some of these titles online. I know you said that some of them are a little bit difficult to find, you know, and you say that most of them only have DVD releases in Hungary. But there's a great label called Second Run. I don't know, you may have heard of it. And Second Run, I think it's out of the United Kingdom, and they have a lot of films from Eastern Europe. And also obviously Hungary. So I think I'm going to try to order. I know you didn't list it, but it's the film My 20th Century. And so maybe My 20th Century and On Body and Soul will be a nice double feature. I believe the filmmaker is the same. So this is going to be very interesting list for me to try to complete. And also I will try to get My 20th Century and maybe some others from Second Run. I admit I don't have any Second Run films right now, so that'll be a great acquisition. So thank you very much, Philosophia, for this wonderful comment. And you know, this is just a wonderful, how do I say, like a primer into modern Hungarian cinema that is other than Béla Tarr. So I'm so thrilled. And that's not to say that I don't like Béla Tarr. On the contrary, I really admire his work. I think it's some of the best work that's available out there, period. But it's always nice to explore more filmmakers from a country. For me anyway, it's a little bit difficult for me to find other films from Hungary. So this is a really great list. Thank you so much, Philosophia. I really appreciate it. I hope we can get a chance to continue this conversation, you know, maybe about Hungarian films, but also about all sorts of films, etc. You seem like a really interesting person to talk to, so I really would love to continue this conversation. And if ever you're in Tokyo, please let me know, and it would be so fun to meet you and to talk to you about more Hungarian cinema. This is really great. So I urge you, you other viewers out there, if you're interested, just to scroll down those comments in that video about the films that I think should be included in the Criterion Collection, and find Philosophia. It begins with an F, F-I-L-O-Z, and then Sophia. So Philosophia. Great comment, by the way, so thank you very much. And if you have any more suggestions or recommendations, please don't hesitate to let me know. So thank you. So let me now talk to you about Indicator, Powerhouse Indicator. Now this is a label from the United Kingdom that is a fairly young label. I don't know how long it's been. Maybe it's been just a couple years, perhaps. Maybe a little bit more, but they come out with some really interesting titles. I think sometimes they fall, sometimes the titles that they release are titles that also sometimes appear on the US label Twilight Time, but not all of them overlap that way, but some of them do. Also, many of the films from Powerhouse Indicator are Columbia Pictures films. Yeah. So without further ado, let me just show you very quickly the Indicator films that I have. I don't want to spend too much time, because I know I tend to go over, so I really apologize for spending too much time on this. So I'll try to be as brief as possible. Again, this is just a quick collection overview, so it's not I'm not going to give any detailed points of review. Perhaps maybe in another video I'd like to go over some of these films in detail, because I think they're really interesting. But anyway, let's go here. And also, these are going to be presented generally in order of how they appear on the Powerhouse Indicator website shop section, and I'll probably provide a link to that in the description box below. So please have a look at that if you have a chance. Okay. Here we go. So the first one is Christine by John Carpenter. Next is Body Double. This is Brian De Palma. And next is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Next, To Sir with Love. Yes, 10 Rillington Place. Yes, I actually saw this for the first time on this release, and it was creepy. This film creeped me out. Okay. Oh, and here's another one. Happy Birthday to Me. Yes, I love slasher films, so it's a real surprise and delight to see the slasher film in the Indicator series. And this is a really good slasher film, by the way. It's not it's not tasteless. I think it has a real it's classy. It's a classy slasher film. Anyway, but it's still violent though. So if you don't like violence, I wouldn't recommend it. Speaking of violence, here it is. John Carpenter's Vampires. Great film. Here's another John Carpenter film, Ghost of Mars. I didn't like this film when I first saw it, but when I saw it again on Indicator's release, I loved it. Loved it. It's a really great film. Here we go. Another great film, The New Centurions. George C. Scott. It's great. Stacy Keach. The Anderson Tapes. This is Sidney Lumet, and it has Sean Connery. I'm convinced that I'm becoming more and more convinced that, you know, alongside the great director-actor pairings in movie history, you know, Kurosawa and Toshiro Mifune, or Scorsese and De Niro, I'm becoming more convinced that another director-actor pairing that belongs in that pantheon of greats is Sidney Lumet and Sean Connery. Together, they made some fantastic films, included in which is The Anderson Tapes. Here, another great one. The Last Detail, Hal Ashby. Gosh, this is a great film. Yes, another interesting one. Bunny Lake is Missing. This is, yeah, quite an interesting sort of mystery suspense. The Front, okay. The Big Heat, Fritz Lang. Fantastic. And Fat City, John Huston. That's great. And oh gosh, Orson Welles, The Lady from Shanghai. If you haven't seen this film, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. It's just the visuals are just mind blowing. Experiment in Terror. Yes. And Hardcore. Paul Schrader. Now, this is just an intense, fantastic film. George C. Scott, one of his best performances. Really just a gritty, a man is just trying to find his daughter. It's a real, sincerely told story about a situation that is horrifying. Hardcore. What a great film this is. Here we go, another one. Iconic. The Wild One. This is such a great film. Housekeeping. Christine Lottie, right? Oh gosh, what a fantastic character. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to watch this later. Okay. The Stone Killer. So this is a very maybe Death Wish-esque type of film, I suppose. And here is the Sinbad trilogy. So this has, was it The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and the Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Really nice, really nice. Next, A Castle Keep, which I haven't seen yet, unfortunately, so that's why it's still in its plastic wrapping. I should watch this later this week, so I'll set it aside. And the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. This is a great one. Mickey One. This is Arthur Penn. Oh man. Mickey One. The Deadly Affair. Yes, another Sidney Lumet film. John le Carré. Oh gosh, I love John le Carré novels, don't you? They're just really great. This is a great film. A Day in the Death of Joe Egg. This is such an intense drama. Man, I'm not going to say any more, but if you, especially if, well, I don't, yeah, I shouldn't say that, but it's just the mother and the father and the child. Oh my goodness, it's just so harrowing. Anyway, oh yes, the National Health. What a clever comedy this is. Really refreshing. Yes, the National Health, or Nurse Norton's Affair. And The Reckoning. What an interesting film. Nicole Williamson. What a fantastic performance she gives in this film. Moving right along, we have the first box set. That's The Wonderful World of Ray Harryhausen, Volume 1, 1955 to 1960. This is such a great one. It has It Came from Beneath the Sea. Yes. 20 Million Miles to Earth. Yes. And The Three Worlds of Gulliver. Now, I had never seen The Three Worlds of Gulliver until I got this set. Brilliant film. So much fun. All of these are so much fun. And, you see this and you just think, gosh, isn't it great to be a film lover and be able to watch films like this? It just makes you feel like a kid again to watch these. Okay, here's another one. The Chase, another drama with Marlon Brando. It's pretty good drama, I'd say. Not the best film in the world, but it's pretty good. Here's See No Evil, kind of a psychological, yeah, it's a horror thriller, I suppose, with Mia Farrow. It's kind of got like the the Audrey Hepburn Wait Until Dark vibe. It's really kind of scary in some places too. And here is the Hammer Volume 1 set. So this has some great films. It has Maniac, The Gorgon, The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, and Fanatic. Yeah, all of these films are just really great. Hammer had a really interesting style, and when you look back on it now, it's really classy. Highly recommended. Speaking of interesting kind of horror psychological thrillers, this is a great one. Fragment of Fear. This has David Hemmings, and it also has a really interesting musical score. Really great. Gosh. Oh, here we go. Torture Garden. So this is an Amicus Films horror anthology. So it has kind of, I think, different stories, short stories that are within the same film. So Amicus, Tales from the Crypt and other films like that. Just such a great collection, I think. This is a bit underrated, but it has a great story. My favorite one is the one with the piano. Yes, so this is the next one. So, yes, The Wonderful World of Ray Harryhausen, Volume 2. So this is 1961 to 1964. This is a phenomenal set. Phenomenal. Mysterious Island and Jason and the Argonauts and First Men in the Moon. Fantastic. If you call yourself a film lover or cineast, you ought to be sure that you've seen a few Ray Harryhausen films, and if you're going to watch one, it's probably going to be from this set, because all of these films are just fantastic. I think my favorite has to be I don't want to say, they're all my favorite. Okay, next. Okay, here's an interesting one. Here is, Mike Nichols, Wolf. This is with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. This is a pretty interesting film. I wouldn't call it my favorite film in the world, but it's pretty good. I think it's quite good, actually. Jack Nicholson is perfect in the role. But a film that I really enjoy. It's a very chilling thriller, I think. The Eyes of Laura Mars. Great. Faye Dunaway. Okay, this one I haven't seen yet, but I should. The Pumpkin Eater. So let me directed by Jack Clayton. So let me just set this aside for later this week. I'm so glad Indicator released this. This is one of my favorites. Charlie Varick. Really great. Oh gosh, this is really great. I think this is one of Indicator's hottest sellers. I think it's and not surprising too, because this is a great action film with Walter Matthau. Gosh, but for me, this is probably I don't want to say it. It's among my favorites. of the Indicator releases because it's just a phenomenal film, and it's presented so well by Indicator. It's Blue Collar. Blue Collar by Paul Schrader. This is a phenomenal film. I think it has to be, oh gosh, I don't even know. Is this my favorite Paul Schrader film? Does it top Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters? I don't know. I don't even want to guess. I don't even want to try to think about it. But if I were to endeavor to make that analysis in my head, very likely this could top that list. Blue Collar, man, Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel, and Yaphet Kotto. My goodness, they work so well. They work so well together on screen. Don't get into the details about what happened, behind the scenes, but very just excellent release. Probably among my favorites in the Indicator release lineup so far. Yes, here's another interesting film, The Border. It's Tony Richardson. So it's not my favorite film, but it's an interesting film about. Well, I don't want to say anything more, but it has Jack Nicholson and also Harvey Keitel. Yes, in a very interesting role. Here we go. Here's another interesting film, The Fortune. Yes, Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson. Another Jack Nicholson film. So there's a lot of love between Indicator and Jack Nicholson, apparently. Here's another Hammer set. This time it's called Hammer Volume 2, Criminal Intent. Great films here. So The Snorkel, Never Take Sweets from a Stranger, The Full Treatment, and Cash on Demand. This is really great. Oh, excuse me. This is a fantastic set. Highly recommended. There's another film which is a pretty interesting film. Not my favorite, but it's kind of a drama on a boat with lots of characters on a boat. Next film is one that I think deserves, this is probably a contender for my favorite release from Indicator. Antonioni's The Passenger. Such a poetic use of camera with a story that is at once simple and mysterious. Oh my goodness. About identity and its the loss of it. Oh gosh, I have to watch this again. Fantastic. Next one is a real interesting gem, I think, with Tom Courtenay, and this Otley. Yes, this is the first time I saw it when it was released on Indicator like this, and it's really great. Here's another great one, Gumshoe. This is a really interesting one, Stephen Frears. So this is with Albert Finney and Billy Whitelaw. And here you go, Town on Trial. This is John Gillerman, and it has what's his name, John Mills. Yes, it's pretty interesting, kind of mystery drama. And Suddenly Last Summer, of course, Joseph Mankiewicz film with Elizabeth Taylor. Here we go, Suddenly Last Summer. And here's another one. Yes, Little Murders with Elliot Gould. This is a really kind of a it's kind of it's a comedy. Yeah. And next is here we go. So The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds. So this is with Joanne Woodward, and let's see. Yes, this is directed by Paul Newman. Yes. So this is an interesting one. I had never seen this before, but it was an interesting revelation when I saw it by Indicator. I would recommend it. It's something that I wouldn't have gotten unless it was on Indicator, so it was a really pleasant surprise. Another pleasant surprise for me was I'd never seen it before, but here's a Roger Corman film, The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. This is quite, I was surprised how much I liked this, by the way. Really, really interesting, fascinating film, I think. Roger Corman. Next is the Five Tall Tales. So this is the Bud Bedecker and Randolph Scott set of westerns at Columbia 1957 to 1960. This is a really great set. Again, westerns I think are, more westerns the better, I'd say. So just for your information, here we've got The Tall T, Decision at Sundown, Buchanan Rides Alone, and you've got Ride Lonesome. Yes, Ride Lonesome. Love that film. And Comanche Station. Oh, gosh. What a great set. Ride Lonesome in particular is my favorite. Gosh, I love that film. Anyway, Five Tall Tales. Oh boy, this has to be, oh man, among my favorites so far. Sorry, Tall Tales, and I'm sorry, Ray Harryhausen, you're great, but man, oh man, what about this set? Excuse me. Samuel Fuller. Gosh, Samuel Fuller at Columbia. This is a great one. Yes, it's got Underworld USA. It's got a Shockproof and Scandal Sheet. It's got, what else? It's got It Happened in Hollywood and Power of the Press. And also the one that I really love, The Crimson Kimono. Yes, Crimson Kimono and Underworld USA. But man, this is a fantastic box set. I think it's still available, but remember, these are limited to, I think, 6,000 units. So if you haven't gotten this, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do, because this is probably one of the best sets of the year. Really just fantastic. Samuel Fuller deserves as much respect and attention as possible, and this is one glorious way of doing that, by getting the set and watching these films. Incredible. And another incredible film is this, The China Syndrome. My goodness. This is one that surprisingly I had never seen until it was released. This was one that it went through. It was one that I didn't catch when I was younger growing up, but now I'm glad that I caught up with it, because this is a tense one. Man, what a fantastic film. Tense, really. Oh gosh, this is quite a heavy film. Next one is the last one I have. I haven't seen it yet, but I should, and looking forward to it. It's a Modern Romance, Albert Brooks film. So I should set it aside for watching later. So that is the extent of the Indicator series that I have. I have ordered new ones that have been newly released, but those are going to be coming in, I don't know, this week or next week, I'm not sure. And also today is, what is it? Today is August 2nd, 2018. Yes, and so today I hear of the announcement of the upcoming releases of Indicator, and they're going to release William Castle films, which is great. I think they're going to release among those like Mr. Sardonicus, which, oh my goodness, that's a great. But they're also going to be releasing Night of the Demon, which is incredible. They're going to be apparently releasing, I think, 4 different versions of this film. That's just Indicator. You're just knocking it out of the park each time. This is great. Every time you seem to be bettering yourselves, which is just amazing. It's amazing wealth, and it's slowly but surely growing into a real powerhouse of a Blu-ray label. That's for sure. Powerhouse Indicator. You certainly have my attention now. So I'm very glad to continue on with my own film discovery journey with your help, Powerhouse Indicator. With your help, it's going to be great. So let me leave it at that, and if you have any questions or comments about this collection or any other things that I've mentioned in this video, please feel free to let me know. I will have comments below, and I'm very happy to respond and reply to the extent I am able. If you have any recommendations for films or suggestions for films, of course, I am all ears. I love to hear all this stuff. And if you don't mind sharing those with me, I'd be more than happy to look them up, because the more recommendations I can get, the better, and the wider my net will be as far as watching films. It's great. Absolutely great. So thank you very much for your time and attention, as always. I know you're busy, so even just for a little bit of your time, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Take care.